Welcome to Brit Wrestling Fan Podcast. I am your host, Andy, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Pantera. How are you doing, mate?
Hey, what's going on, Andy? How you been, brother?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Nice little week of wrestling for us to break down here. Probably more out of the ring discussion points than in the ring, isn't there, mate? So,
absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's like 90210 out there.
seems to be the case, isn't it? But what we'll do is we'll just break through our normal stuff. We'll break down the results of Raw, Smackdown, NXT, and then we'll just talk about all the other bits and bobs in between. Happy with that, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okie doke. So on Raw, we're not going to spend too much time, especially on this show, because it was not a good show. So had Bobby Lashley refusing to fight Goldberg last week. This changed obviously this week as well. Obviously Lashley got challenged again by Goldberg, brought his son into it. Nice little story, not too bad. Veer and Shanky versus Drew McIntyre. Done what it needed to do for the show. Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. Don't know what that was all about, but it was there and thereabouts. Mason T-Bar versus Mustafa Ali and Mansoor. Drew Doff versus Tamia. Damian Priest and Ricochet versus John Morrison and Sheamus. I weren't mad at that match at all, to be honest with you. But that was an okay match. And then Riddle versus Omos. And then Karrion Kross versus Keith Lee. Don't know where they're going with that again. We had Karrion lose, then win, now lose again. Don't really know what the point of that was. Reggie versus Akira Tozawa. I don't know since when the 24/7 championship has become a match rather than, and then we had Nikki ASH versus Charlotte. So let's just discuss Raw in general. What did you think of the show, mate?
I want to start off by saying I was at LA Fitness one time, and I take a look at somebody bench pressing, and it's a little guy, but putting up some decent weight. It's Akira Tozawa. And take a look, and Raw was actually in the Coliseum, and I take a look, and he walks over, and he goes to his colleague, and it's Kairi Sane. So I think that was like 2 years ago. But I thought it was really weird because Kairi Sane was wearing a Kairi Sane shirt. That's like you're going to see Maiden.
Do you know what? Funny enough, you should say that. I've just been reading something popped up there, an article on Facebook, and I was reading about it, and it was saying about Scott Hall, saying back in the early 90s, they were going to a show, and it was in Calgary, obviously Bret Hart's own hometown. He invited all the wrestlers over to his house, which he said we thought was lovely. He said, but when he got over to his house, he said, I thought it was a river first. He went like, literally every single room of the house was just pictures of Bret Hart, the character, not Bret, the hitman, rather than Bret Hart, the person. He said even above his bed in his master bedroom, he had a picture of him with the Bret Hart jacket on there with the tassels on top. Like a big picture of his bed, and he just said, like, you know, after that, he said, like, not, he wasn't dissing him as a person, but he just said, I just think he takes this way too far.
I don't know. It's a vanity thing, but I think, you know, anybody, I don't know, good for them, man. She promoted what she liked, and she was awesome. She was a talent. But what I was getting at is it's nice to see Tozawa actually have a match. I hate that they just make him a Japanese stereotype. Because with that whole ninja thing that happened last summer with Omos when he was the tall ninja. But it's nice to see him on TV. You know, they insert these guys into random roles. Rhea Ripley versus Jax. I guess Jax has a match capita basis per year. So I have a feeling that maybe she has to have like 20 matches a year. Yeah. You know, so maybe it's a contractual obligation. She sucks.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, though, she is an ex-champion, so I suppose it's a credible opponent as well for Rhea, isn't it?
Yeah, but she's also Samoan, so that kind of gives her like a contract right there. So, but I think overall, you know, this is the weird filler right before SummerSlam, so it just ties in everything. I found out that was the third time that Damian Priest fought Morrison. And I'm like, why do you keep having to redo this? You know, like I can understand if they were doing it for house shows, but you know, I don't think it's really needed. And You know, I'm
Well,
I'm not going to comment.
they keep releasing all the talent, don't they? So you've got to have to keep on going around the merry-go-round,
Yeah,
I suppose.
I guess so. It's just, it's now to a point where you like Lashley as a character, but you hate Lashley as a wrestler going up against Goldberg. I don't know. And the fact that they keep inserting Goldberg into these big four
Mm.
matches, like or the big, there I am again dating myself, dude. Let me ask, do you still call Hell in the Cell a in your house?
No, no, no. We've changed that now. Yeah, the Hell in a Cell is just it's one of them nowadays, isn't it? Because it's a pay-per-view all on its own. But for me,
Yeah,
they're still in it. They're still in your house to me. I think it's still the big four. You know,
yeah,
it's 100% for me. Is still the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. I think any of the
yeah,
ones outside that, I just don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they can't be great pay-per-views and stuff. Of course they can, but I think I'm the same as you, mate. I'm a big nostalgia fan of the fact that they're the main four, aren't they?
yeah,
But overall, I'd say this show wasn't very good. I liked the Nikki situation where she won it, and hopefully she's going to use that move going forward, the twist and neck breaker from the ropes. I hope
yeah,
she uses that because I think it's a lot better than the whole crossbody off the top. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying crossbody, but let's face it, if she's going to do that as a finisher and make it a winning move, then everybody else on the show needs to stop using them as much as they do. And same with super kicks, really, isn't it? But
yeah.
um,
But then we'd have to go back to 1975 with that one matches.
yeah,
Even the 80s too. So
yeah,
it's a cross between a throwback and look at the superhero colliding while they're in
yeah,
the air.
yeah. I like the way that they brought Goldberg's son into the mix. I'm hoping that's a fact that they're going to do just because of the fact that he may be coming into wrestling himself or whatever. If that's the case, fine. If Goldberg wants to use his influence and whatnot to get his son over, that's fine by me.
Yeah,
And
I
apart
just I
from
just
that,
hope I just hope he actually learns how to wrestle, unlike his dad.
yeah. And apart from that, carrying cross Keith Lee, I just don't know what's going on here. Don't really see why they're using both of them the way they are. This should have been a match for maybe a US title or an Intercontinental, maybe, or even at the top of the card and in the future. Just to have it as a throwaway match, sorry, on Raw is a little bit disappointing to me.
It's sad too because Keith Lee had just this huge, larger than life persona to him and just a different look. I mean, this guy was a brute that could talk.
Mm,
I heard he talks like Fraser Crane, but he's somebody they could market. But then
mm.
you also had Cross that was just killer. Now they might say, oh, they'll bring Scarlett in, which is kind of giving you a little pizzazz and oomph and adrenaline boost because Scarlett's kind of motivating him. But it's like, oh, so now you need a chick to motivate you to win? It's kind of weird. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, especially with
it's
his type of
backwards.
character. This type of character doesn't really, I don't know. Maybe they'll go across the fact of, I think at some point, if he starts like losing control and throwing things or, doing something wild to lose a match, and then you bring her in and say, well, she centers him and stuff, that's fine. But just to lose a match like that, it just, I don't know. I don't know where they're going with it. And I don't think they know where they're going with it at the moment. And it's a bit worrying, to be honest. Last one we'll talk about is Riddle versus Omos. Not on great here. Omos is awful. I don't like to turn around and slam wrestlers or anything like that, but this is why they have NXT. So why do we skip NXT and get him straight on the main roster? And I thought Riddle done the right thing here, trying to run around and trying to use his agility and stuff. But overall, it was poor. But we know what it's leading to, so
Yeah.
it's a necessity. So it's fine. I'd say Raw as a whole, show not the best. I'd probably say it was 2 out of 5 this week. No, you're giving it a 1, yeah?
I'm giving it a 1, man.
Yeah,
I could, that's the amount of minutes I could like take of each match.
yeah.
Yeah, but you're right though. Like, it's like, send the guy to development. Like you guys have time. You ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you recall anybody on NXT that was just gigantic size wise? And
Braun Strowman, very briefly, wasn't he? believe he was
Wasn't he
in
a
it.
Rosebud?
He was a Rosebud, yeah.
Yeah, he was a Rosebud. Yeah.
Uh,
But I thought they just brought him up. I wasn't sure, but I don't remember anybody that was like this larger than life. Like even Samoa Joe, he doesn't have the height, but he's got kind of, this dangerous aspect to him, you know.
do you know one thing I will mention, and if something I was looking at today is considering, do you know what, we'll get into that later on because I've got,
Sure.
when we talk about the releases, it'll probably fit in quite nicely with that. So I'll get into that a little bit later on. So we'll move straight on to Dynamite now. Obviously Dynamite was great. Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black, awesome. Malachi splattered him basically, and I thought that was really, really good. A necessity, and the way Cody went to leave his boots in the ring at the end and then got attacked again, thought it was great. Don't know where they're going to go with that one. Hopefully Cody gets a break now with his new baby or whatever he's doing, and then we'll see that mature over time. Again, I think it's really, really good storytelling by AEW. And from what I read an interview where Malachi Black was saying he went to Tony Khan and pitched the idea, and Cody was supportive of him. And yeah, really, really good. And the fact that Tony Khan listening to his talent, for me, good point as well.
I hope he doesn't listen too much though, because he actually said he wanted to go face to face with Sonny Kiss. That's when you need somebody to kind of. I'm not even kidding you. That's a direct quote from Black.
But would that be bad though? Because of them
Absolutely.
being such the opposites.
Absolutely. You know why? You put him in this high profile match and you have X amount of people on that roster. You have a lot of talent. Well, you have a lot of wrestlers that are on that roster. Why are you going to dumb down somebody who just fought and handedly kicked Cody's ass into retirement? I didn't like that because I think that once again, bringing Cody about him. Do it the next week. Flirt with retirement the next week. Black comes out. He says, I forced you into retirement because you can't hang it. Blah, blah, blah. There's so many different better ways to do it. I mean, yeah, Black came back and actually kicked him, but it just doesn't add anything to it.
No.
I think if you booked it in the long run, they're all about long-term storytelling. I don't need to hear about Black going back because I loved it. I loved that match because of the fact that it was just awesome. Nobody expected that.
Yeah.
Like you expect three crossroads, and maybe Black going under, but it's about time that Cody really put somebody over. I know that you could sit there and go like, well, he didn't bury this guy and that guy, but I know Ogogo's hurt, but what was going to be next for him in a QT Marshall fight, But I think you need to meticulously strategize Black to go after like a Miro, something like that.
Yeah, I get you, but at the same time, maybe build him a little bit more by putting him in with the likes of a Sonny Kiss. I think Sonny Kiss is a really, really good wrestler, and I think with the whole dynamic of the two characters being so different, it could be a good move just for a short term building to what is going on, because obviously if Cody's going to do this retirement angle and whatnot, we potentially couldn't see him at all out and stuff. So we need to keep Black busy and beating people. And do we really want to put him into a program with Miro or someone like that when we're still not done with his current program? It's just a bit more of a slow burner.
If they're going to do that, though, you could do it with. I'll give you two people that they could do it. We were talking about last week, Christian Cage turning heel as a natural. If he's still going to be a baby face, I'd like to see Black versus Cage. I would also like to see, and they proved this, and I think he's the go-to guy and definitely an MVP. Matt Sydal has been just a trooper there, and he's just putting over people nonstop in that place. And people don't realize it. He doesn't have the greatest record against these high-profile matches, but he puts over like that Andrade fight. Once again, he still has two managers in one match in AEW, but he helps like put over just competition. So Black needs to get these wins. You're absolutely right. Sonny Kiss thing though, like you said, if they booked him differently, then sure. But he's been like a cohort with Joey Janela, and he's been on Elevation. Like, continue.
All right, mate. So we'll move on now. We'll go on to the Jericho versus Juventud in the 5 Labors of Jericho match. This is number 3 of that series. I'm really enjoying the series as a whole. I also like this match. I thought at the start of this match, it was kind of, I felt like the timing was off between the two of them. But as the match went on, I thought it got a little bit better. I thought Hubi looked like he was missing a step a little bit. But, he's 41 now, isn't he? And I suppose his style is always going to catch up with him eventually. But, overall, not a bad match. Solid. Got what we want out of it. Bit of nostalgia for us. Say that. And then I thought the Judas effect off the top rope for the win I was really impressed with that.
That was cool. But I don't even think the booker or the referee knew what the rules were. Because, like, I thought it was just, there's the move off the top rope, ring the bell. Did they explain that you had to make the pin afterwards?
All they said is he's got to win with a top rope finish, top rope move. That was the stipulation. So I'd assume, because you say you've got to win with a top one, it means that frog splash, but whatever it may be off the top rope.
Yeah, but that's like, like you could have just, let's say he did the Judas effect and went for the pin. It would have been more visually pleasing and a good explanation if Ref Auger was like, no, you got to go off the top rope, and then it would transpire into Hoovy hitting like Frankenstein or something like that off the top. It's just little nuances like that, but I did like it. Chris needs a vacation.
Yeah,
he looked blown up.
Yeah, I think once he gets this kind of the end of the of this program, maybe we will. Well, we're going to see him take a break soon anyway, aren't we? Because he's going on tour with Fozzy. He's actually in the UK, end of November, beginning of December. So we're going to get a break. He's going to get a break there, and I assume he's got some kinds of practices to do and whatnot, rehearsals for the tour. So, I think after this program, this will be his last one, and he'll take his dip out for a bit then, or for however long that may be. I don't know.
Are you seeing Fozzy on tour?
At the moment, no, but it's a possibility that I will be. It's just more to do with around Christmas time, and I've got loads of kids and stuff. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, like money has to go elsewhere.
Yeah. So next match we had was the trios match: John Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin versus 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. Not a bad little match. Was what it was. Kept these guys on the show, which is what we want to see. Did like it. I liked it. There was a part where trying to think who it was. It was 1 or 2.0, I believe. Was face to face with Sting, and Darby Allin just come flying from nowhere through the rope with suicide dive. It was really cool on that one. And then we had the coffin drop on Darby Allin for the win. And all 3 of them stood tall with Sting. And then, give Sting his due. He was trying to stand up the side, and they were pulling him in, making him raise their hands with them and stuff. But I'd say, really good match. And the fact that it just kind of put them on the show was good for me.
I liked 2.0. I thought they were funny. Just opening up the door for my cat that doesn't know what it wants to do. All right, go. Thank you. All right. I thought 2.0 was funny. They had the visuals. I love the match. I think that spot that you just talked about, that looked scary. That guy had no idea Darby was coming. Maybe he did, but Darby went 6 million miles an hour. I don't like the fact that Mox doesn't sell a thing, and he's changed his, like Eddie Kingston's a wrestler, and he's a tough guy. I think Moxley is just, how do I put it? I think he just loves doing the sloppy stuff that looks okay and the execution's bad. Have you noticed the DDT, the paradigm shift has evolved into a suplex now?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No.
But you know what? He's friends with Nick Gage, so have fun with that.
Okay, so next we went on to Christian Cage versus The Blade. Again, not a bad match is what it is. Cage got the win. I didn't realize until I watched this match that Cage was actually undefeated. And obviously he's next in line to make the title against Kenny Omega. Don't know how I feel about that. I feel like at this point in his career, he should be making stars rather than trying to be at the top of his game. But at the same time, I think Cage and Omega have a good match, so I'm not mad at it.
No, neither am I. I think he's also a team player. Like he has no problem doing the job. He's proven that in his career. So it's like, I guess it's a placeholder for whoever's facing Omega next. Which will be my savior when they win, if they win. I think actually Cage and Omega could have a really good match. What's the next pay-per-view? All Out? That's in September or something like that. Yeah, that's in September or
August, I think it is. Is it? It's August or September. I'm not too sure.
I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
Yeah, whatever it is in. No, that's not the Chicago one too.
That's the Chicago one, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
5th
Let's
of
see.
September.
All Out.
I think
September 5th.
Yeah, the Chicago one is the first Dynamite.
Yeah,
I believe is SummerSlam weekend.
Yeah, but you know what? I have it here. It says for Sunday, September 5th and Monday, September 6th.
All right. 2 nights.
2 days. Yeah,
nights,
yes. That's cool. If they
Yeah.
go head to head with Raw, they're in the big time.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah. And imagine if Raw was on cable TV and they're on pay-per-view and more people buy the pay-per-view than watch Raw.
That's interesting. What are the prices of the AEW? Because
I'm not sure. In the UK, we get them on Fight TV. So like $9.99 a month for the app, but you get GWC and all the GCW, sorry, and the rest of them on there. So I don't know how much it'll work out per one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the pay-per-views are on really late for you too, I think.
Hey?
Yeah, the pay-per-views are on really late for you guys too, I think.
Yeah, like 2 a.m. Yeah, you start.
That's the pits.
So that's why. But
Yeah.
I'd say I always stay up for the main ones, the likes of SummerSlam and whatnot. But the other ones I'll watch like the next day or the next night or whatever. So normally stay off social media on the Mondays. Yeah, and then we had see how it goes with that. Right, so we've got Dark Order didn't come out to save Hangman. He got beat up with the Elite Hunter by the Elite. I'm liking the whole Hangman and Dark Order story because they're kind of winning 1 minute, they're not the next, and they're trying to go to him and he keeps knocking them away, and then in the end they get fed up. And good little narrative with the perspective from a lot of them, really.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get that. I think it just they overplayed the fact that they were coming out to help him, and then Stu Grayson, who I guess didn't get a concussion, and Evil Uno had to hold him back. I think they really had to overact that and oversell that.
Yeah,
you really didn't, because you just needed to have a picture-in-picture, like of them in the back, and maybe John Silver, like, oh man, I want to go back out there and help, and Grayson by the door, and actually you could have the mouthpiece of Evil Uno saying, this is what Adam wanted us to do, stay put. If you did that in the back, I think it would look visually a lot better. Instead of there's guys that are coming out to help him, but they're stopping. I would never do that. If your best mate, that's right, I went there. If your best mate, if he actually was getting beat up, but he told you he didn't want your help, are you going to go halfway and then say, forget about it? So there's little nuances on how to do that.
Okay, so we'll move on to a really good show, AEW. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I don't think it was anything brilliant, but I do think it was a solid show.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's a strong grade. I'd agree with you because I did enjoy the show. Like there were some things, the Malachi Black debut was awesome. I want to point out that this heel turn or this turn on Pac is going to happen sooner or later. And I think that needs to happen now. I think Andrade with the Lucha Brothers would be awesome. Another thing we picked up on is who was it? Layla Hirsch. She beat the Bunny. And now she has to face Camille, who, if you ask me, Camille from NWA looks awesome. Like, she's hot. She's I'm not even gonna lie. Is my wife here? Yeah, somewhere. But she's looks great. You know, I think that she's probably bigger star than anybody on the female side in AEW right now. Jade Cargill needs to get on TV more. They have a star right there in the making. Yeah, and I think what is it? We have, I guess, somebody coming back to beat Lance Archer next week, huh? From Camp Dan Lambert from the UFC.
Yeah.
So they're teasing a lot. Do you have any idea on who that would be?
Don't have a clue. Don't have a
Neither
clue.
do I.
No.
I didn't hear anything. It could be a wrestler, but it could be UFC. Me personally, I think it'd be awesome if it was Dan Severn.
Yeah.
But that's
Cain Velasquez.
Shamrock. Wow. I didn't even think about that. He had that one match and he was done, right?
Yeah, yeah. Or it was the other guy that used to wrestle on TNA, King Mo.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think there's a lot that they could do with him.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so we'll move on to SmackDown. As I say, I just want to get through these shows very quickly, and then we'll go on to some of the news.
Meat and
stuff
potatoes.
Like that. Yeah. Let us know in the comments as well, guys, if you think that we should still run through the shows. I feel like, just running through the shows is good for yourselves, but if that's not something that you're liking, and we can just kind of have the hour show just talking about the highlights of different things which might work better for you. But let us know. Okay, so SmackDown started with Bianca Belair and sorry, not Bianca Belair. It was Boss Time. It always makes me laugh how excited Michael Cole is. He's like ready to explode when he says it. Good little promo from Sasha. Bianca come out, and I thought Bianca was outstanding in this segment. Kind of waiting for her to carry herself as a champion, and I thought this was kind of the moment for her when it all comes together. Where Selena Vega comes out, and then Bianca turns around, and I think it was Sasha tries to interrupt her, and as she tries to interrupt her, Bianca turns around and is like, "Hey, I'm the champion. I'm not talking to you, am I? I'm not talking to you." And then goes back to Selena. I thought that was really because, like, look, I'm the champ. I'm the one that'll make the rules here, not you. And then obviously she turned around and said, "Okay, well, tell you what, I'll face you tonight, and I'll face you at SummerSlam." Perfect from me. What do you think yourself, mate?
I think it's good because, like we were saying before, there's a few weeks that they had to fill in until SummerSlam. So, I think Banks is really good. I think that Selena Vega is probably most overrated person now. I've heard her name just in controversy more than actually achievements. So she's an underachiever. She's overrated. She looks good. I'm sure she sounds good too, but just like I don't like her in this role of, hey, I'm inserted into this picture. It's not even a title picture. It's just a picture. Other than that, Belair is going to really get credibility if she wins at SummerSlam. I hope she does too.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I do want to mention on this is when the backstage segment just absolutely infuriated me, is where Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, you can't have a title match. There's contracts that have to be signed. There's this, and this. And it's like, yeah, but last week John Cena signed a contract that wasn't even in his name, but that was fine, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Or you've got on Raw on the other side where Goldberg comes out and demands a title shot, and it's okay, you can have one. But, Selena Vega can't do the same. And it's like, no, there's contract, there's contracts and back and forth litigation. And that's just like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Typical WWE, just no, there's
uniform.
It's not uniform across the things at all. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, I could hear Vince in the back going, "You got to earn that clout."
That's it, isn't it? But there's just no consistency. Consistency is the best word for it. It's like, it's whatever suits you at that specific moment, which is fine as long as it makes sense and it's got credibility. And this is the problem that I'm seeing with a lot of WWE at the moment, is like, You're saying one thing here, you're doing another here, and then you go back to here and you reverse it. You know, it's even, as I noticed, I'm going back to it, but Karrion Kross's booking, he loses, he wins, he loses. And I know you can say that's wrestling, but when you haven't built a character up and there's no storyline behind it, it's just, it's stupid booking in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree. It's got to be consistency across the board.
Yeah.
So especially, I think they gave up on that when they did that wild card rule. Like you could have Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns on both shows.
Yeah,
You know, that's probably the last real abuse of that. It's always happening, but this is just, it was weird, like you said. Nothing.
And then we've got Dominic Mysterio versus Jey Uso. I'm not going to go into the match because the match was what it was. Obviously, Jey come out with the win. One thing that I noticed backstage, and I've wrote it down here on my notes and just having a look now, is possible split of Ray and Dominic, where Ray comes up to him, why you taking this match on? What are you doing? I know he said get in his head, and it's like, son, listen to me. I've been around the block and stuff. I don't know whether it's me reading into it too much, but it just seemed like they were starting to plant the seed a little bit there.
They need to split. It would just be probably the most heart-wrenching story too.
Oh yeah, and if Ray's looking to retire, you could have it where Dominic tries to get the mask off him and all this stuff. Do you know what I mean? It writes itself, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, then you actually create like such a great heel too. If Dominic did that, his facials can't really do it except for like, I think it actually had better facials when he was a little kid in his Hawaiian shirt on the apron or whatever, just looking there with that bleached blonde hair. But I'm looking at him now. I guess he kind of looks a little menacing the more facial hair he gets,
Well, he's got to get that mask. That mask is going to him. It's 110% going to happen.
Yeah. Did you see there's a photo of Psychosis, Conan, and Rey Mysterio going around right now? Rey's unmasked. It's so funny.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? When you look at him, he still looks like a little baby, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I would too if I was hanging out with Tori Wilson back then.
I'm telling you. Okay, so we move on to our next match, Intercontinental Contenders match, another Contenders match. If you're going to face the champion, just give you the title shot. Why do we have to have a Contenders match, really? But anyway, Shinsuke won via disqualification. He did beat him, so I suppose we're going to see an IC match at SummerSlam. I suppose there's got to be a few more matches on the card because it is a stadium show, so they're going to have to fill up the matches somehow. Hopefully, we're going to see a little bit more buzz because at the moment, I'm not really looking forward to SummerSlam, which is quite sad. But it is what it is.
Where all that firepower is going into. And we'll talk about it later. But what I think that they should really advertise more so, but that's another thing we can talk about later.
We've got Knox versus Tamina next, or Tegan Knox is like to call it. I don't know why they have to take the name off. Knox gets the win. Not mad at that either. Hopefully it'll help them. Obviously we're just waiting for Natty to turn back up, and then we're gonna get the title change probably with Knox and Shotzi probably winning the belt. Then we had Edge and Seth Rollins little segment. Not mad at this, but this was really, really good. Well done. Seth doing what Seth does really well, and Edge obviously doing what Edge does well. And it set up the match nicely, and I'm looking forward to this match. I feel like the two of them can put on a really, really great match. So,
yeah, game changer. It's going to be the match of the night.
And then we had the Street Profits making the return against the Dirty Dogs. Street Profits for me haven't been used properly. I know Mr. Dawkins, I think, was injured, or might have been Ford. I can't remember which one it was. I like this match. It reminded me of old tag teams, like I know I'm not saying that they're in the same category as Demolition or Bulldogs, Power Foundation, Rockers, but I just like the fact that we had the Dirty Dogs versus the Street Profits rather than AJ and Omos versus, Mansood and Ali, just because they're just putting people together. These are actually tag teams with a theme of being a tag team, and same as the Usos. And so SmackDown starting to get a little tag team division going here, and the Mysterios as well. All of it makes sense, and they're not just being thrown together. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I do like the Dirty Dogs. I think
Mm,
it's pretty funny. I'm
yeah,
surprised it hasn't been taken prior in WWE.
yeah, yeah. I think I like the way as well is they both obviously just got through together and they've done the best. No, they've done the best as what they can with what they got given. So I'm happy for that. So then we had Bianca versus Selena. Not going to go into too much detail here. Bianca obviously got the win, and we're probably just going to have the Bianca versus Sasha at SummerSlam. And then we moved
Do
on
you think?
to. Oh, sorry, go on.
I'm sorry. Do you think that they're making Vega like they're working her and jobbing her out just as payback?
I don't know. I don't know because I don't really like her anyway. I don't think she looked all right in that match with Bianca Belair, but not really somebody I'm not bothered about, to be honest. So, you know,
Yeah,
not saying
I
that
think.
it's not her. It's just the creative hasn't made me care about her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never really cared. I mean, I thought she was a great manager for
Mm,
Andrade. But I don't know. Maybe it's a mixture of the whole unionization
mm,
claim, but then they brought her back, but maybe
yeah.
just to make an example out of her, like Carlito back in the day too. That's
Yeah.
because Carlito was habitually a bad worker. Apparently, I loved Carlito. I thought he was great. He
Mm,
actually has a win over Cena that year too.
yeah.
But yeah, they brought him back. And they just jobbed him out.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
knew that signing that contract. So maybe it's
Mm,
the same instance.
that's it. Okay, and then we move on to Finn Balor versus Corbin. Really like this match. Thought it was a good little match. I'm loving Baron Corbin's character at the moment. I think they're doing a really good job with it. And you know, one thing I like with this match as well is the way at the end with Finn turning around to come out and he's not the smiling Finn Balor. He's still got that bit of grit about him and frustration. Obviously Roman come out at the end and he was kind of like, no, don't be speaking my name. Okay, but you were the one that accepted me challenge the week before, so why you got to come on with me saying my name now? But anywho, um, me personally, this screams out triple threat match. It's just screaming it to me. It's going to be a triple threat at
Because
SummerSlam.
somebody needs to take the L, and whoever won this match is going to get who's is probably going to job. Correct?
I don't know. I'm hoping that by Finn Balor going into it, that Cena takes the pin. But I've got a feeling that Balor's going to take the pin to Cena to give Cena those 17th championship.
That's
And
how we
then,
think.
yeah. And then they have the
That's
next match is Cena versus Roman one-on-one, and Roman beats him.
but when would that be? You know?
Survivor Series.
Yeah, but then you got 2 months, right?
Hmm.
So, and I don't think this is the big four thinking again.
Do you know what? Actually, they're due back to Saudi Arabia in September, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
And actually, Cena will go for the Saudi money, obviously. So that'll probably be Roman Cena at Saudi. Roman wins the belt back, but Cena gets his 17th title.
Do you think he'll apologize in whatever language they speak for referring to Saudi Arabia as not a country?
I tell you what else could happen as well is it could be a way to get the belt off Roman and let Finn Balor win it,
Yeah.
and then have Roman go on to other things because I think at the moment he's that awesome. He doesn't need the title, but I say I don't know. I don't know how they're going to go. So next we're going to go on to, but sorry, before we go on to anything else, SmackDown for me, not a bad show. We've done what it's done. I'd say probably 2 out of 5.
It's better filler than Raw.
Yeah,
2.5. I'd give it a 2.5.
yeah,
Only because it doesn't need to be 3 hours, and they put it's timed perfectly. So it's
mm,
just it's a great Friday wrestling show.
yeah. Okay. So while SmackDown was happening, we got news of a load more releases. This time from NXT. So we had Bronson Reed, Bobby Fish, Leon Ruff, Tyler Rust, Jake Atlas, Mercedes Martinez, Asher Hale, Giant Zangier, Zachary Smith, Conan Reeves, Ari Sterling, and referee Stefan Smith. I think the ones for me there, Bronson Reed and Bobby Fish, are the two main ones that I was kind of. What's your thoughts on that?
It's kind of sad. When I first read the four main ones, the first thing I thought of was, if the other company is going to make any moves, they have to sign Mercedes Martinez right now.
Yeah.
Build up that woman's division, give it credibility, and she's been just a player. Remember, she was part of not Insurrection. What was the group with Ali that came out?
Oh God, Retribution.
Yeah, she was in that, and then they took her off. They brought her back to NXT because I think they knew what they had with her, somebody that could work and get the best matches out of people. If they did that, they'll have basically a second Serena Deeb and a second Thunder Rosa,
Mm.
Over there, and they need that desperately.
Yeah.
So
The women's
I do
division is
think
a
that
bit slack, isn't it?
a greener grass. Bronson Reed was a huge surprise to me.
Yeah.
That, to me, like, I don't know where you go from there. He should take a little time off, because the guy was working his butt off for the past couple of years there.
No. For me personally, Bobby Fish was a big one for me as well. Obviously, being part of the Undisputed era, I was sad to see him go. Now, from some of the reports as well, I was reading a report off Sean Ross Sapp before about the fact that they're looking to rebrand NXT with a new logo and a new feel and stuff like that. Now, for me personally, I agree with this because I know what he was saying about they don't want nobody who's small or fat and all this stuff. I'm not a big fan of that. Obviously, looked like some, no disrespect, but Mick Foley and a few others. Doesn't matter body all the time. And this is, Vince has got to realize this once again, as he has had to in the past. CM Punk wasn't a body guy, Daniel Bryan wasn't a body guy, the list goes on. But anyway, I'm agreeing with the fact of this on the rebranding, not the other comments, because NXT is a developmental brand, and I think because they put them against AEW, they kind of made them into a fair brand, and it hasn't worked out. Now, as much as I don't like any of these releases, I think Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, as you say, Mercedes Martinez could have been main roster talent. But I do believe, let's look going into the current roster. Johnny Gargano is probably a big one for me. Adam Cole, baby, can't say his name without that.
Yeah.
He's been on that roster for too long, in my opinion. Now, it does need to go back to what it should be, and that's developmental. And unfortunately for these guys, they have been released. But if they haven't thought about putting them onto the main roster, they need to get rid of them. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. If they're not ready to, if you look at a soccer team over in the UK, or I'm sure it's the same with NFL, you get put into training squads or academies, and if you don't make the cut, you get released. It just happens. That's the way it is. If you don't progress up to the next level or to the first team or whatever it may be, you get released. Same here. I agree with that. I said to my friend the other day, I don't know how much talent you've actually got in the performance center that haven't made it onto NXT. And if you're keeping all these around, how are they ever going to make it there?
Yeah, exactly. I think you're absolutely right with that. Like, it can't be like performance center and then main roster performance center, which is what NXT was. It got to the point where you were calling, like, I think you could look at it as Finn Balor going back was like him getting called up to NXT. It's like he almost didn't fit in, but he went back to NXT and was like really good there. It was head scratching for a little bit. I do think though that it's just really weird because in a couple of weeks they could have probably the company's best pay-per-view with NXT Takeover. That's a stacked card. There's at least 3 matches on there that I probably want to see.
Yeah.
And they're getting steam. Like, first of all, Walter against Ilya, that's going to be amazing. Again, there was something else too that I saw in there. I'm trying to think. I think the women's match itself. I'm not sure what the women's match is, but there's 3 matches on that card that I'm just like, oh, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. That could be very weird because who knows what his contract is doing right now. So there's a lot of different speculation. But I do believe that there's definitely a lot of intrigue going on. But
You've
like
even
these
got the
people,
likes of Simone Johnson, who's in the Performance Centre, and a couple of others. And I know they give them time and time and time. But one thing I noticed, and this was what I was going to mention before, and I'll mention it now, is I was looking at WWE and I was like, they need future talents because you keep going back to drink from the Cena well and the Goldberg and your Brock Lesnar's or whatever else. And I was looking at it and I was looking at the main event picture, and you've got like Bobby Lashley in his 40s, Goldberg in his 50s, John Cena in his 40s. Roman's obviously not that age yet, but Finn Balor, who's now mixing it in his 40s. It's like the main event scene has got no young talent in there, and apart from Roman Reigns, obviously, and Roman's not exactly young talent, but he's obviously younger than the rest of them. And I just look at me, think to myself, like, because we have brought Adam Cole in a bit sooner and put him versus Bobby Lashley, you know,
how do you market that?
At SummerSlam. Well,
How-
Adam Cole's this cocky, self-assured man, isn't he? And Bobby Lashley's the monster who, thinks he can destroy the world. So you've got two big egos going against one another. Pretty easy marketing to me, that one.
Yeah, but then you also had Kevin Owens against Goldberg. How did that work out? That was
yeah.
that's a burial right there.
Yeah.
And has KO been on the show? Has KO been on SmackDown? Because
No.
he was a flag bearer during the whole COVID.
Yeah, maybe they're just giving him a break at the moment. But as I say, I was just looking at it. I was just thinking to myself, I understand why they're going. Don't get me wrong. I never want to see anyone lose the job. That's not what I'm saying. And it's not a slight on any talent. They're all really, really good talents. But they do need, and it's no fault of their own the way that it's worked out for them. But they do need to get that brand in order back to being a developmental brand, back to being what it should be, because, make it feel like when they appear on the main roster, it's like, oh, like we used to get with the some of the call-ups back in the early days. But they need to get that back in order because they need to start getting some stars. And, as I say, when you got Gargano, what's his missus' name? Candice LeRae. Not Candice
Which
LeRae,
one?
what's his
Candice LeRae, yeah.
Yeah. People like that being there for a long, long time. It's like, move them on, get them on. And then the next lot can, move up and be the experienced ones and help the younger ones. I'm not mad if you throw Finn Balor or somebody down there now and again to have a few matches with them and help them, help them get used to, especially if you've got something of a top star that you're looking on, bringing through or whatever else, just get some of the older talents to go and have matches with them, help them progress or here.
I remember didn't they hint at Gargano being on Raw, like with Ciampa
he
too?
He popped up, didn't he? He popped up and then it all went quiet and he shot straight back down again. But as I say, for me, it's like, Karrion Kross, Samoa Joe fighting for titles. They're both old as well. They're not like Karrion Kross isn't a young lad, is he? Not too sure.
No, Kross is actually 37.
Yeah, and he's just getting up to the main roster. You want somebody in the 30s getting up to that, or the late 20s, early 30s getting up to the main roster. That's where you really want them, isn't it? And the only way you're going to do that is by developing them correctly. And, NXT is not, at present, is not, in my eyes anyway, is not bringing people up well enough. Let's look at thingy's a very good point to make is Austin Theory. He's been running around with Johnny Gargano in the way and stuff, and he's not being developed properly. He's just being used with somebody who's been a mainstay in NXT. But realistically, you shouldn't be a mainstay in NXT because that's not what it's for.
No, don't you want to leave there? I don't get it. Like,
it's probably not their choice, and I get that. But if you're not going to get there, then you need to move on. Don't you? Then go and regroup and make your way in the independence. Look at Drew McIntyre, went back out there, come back a totally different person. Jinder Mahal's another one. So, you might just need to do that. But anyway, any of the final thoughts from you, mate, before we go? Sorry, one more thing I did want to mention is the passing of Bobby Eaton. That was very, very, very sad. Bobby I was a big WWF mark back in the day when I was a kid, especially. And I knew who the Midnight Express were. I knew who Bobby Eaton was, which just shows him what kind of man he was and what kind of wrestler he was. if you guys haven't seen him, you need to go and watch him, watch some of his stuff, because he was a real pioneer in the sport. And you know, I listened to a little bit of Jim Cornette Experience this morning, which I don't normally listen to his show much, but I did this morning, and you could tell with the crackling in his voice and the way he spoke was, you know, very nice to see. And you know, I just best wishes to his family, isn't it?
Absolutely. You said before, we talked about Bronson Reed, you know, being short and fat, you know, and that was one of the reasons why he got heat, which is ridiculous. Bobby didn't have the greatest body, self-admittedly. But I remember as a kid watching him come out on WCW, and I didn't know anything about the Midnight Express. I'll keep it short, but
Yeah,
I remember him always being smiling coming to the ring. And pay attention when he was in singles, and then when he was also Lord Robert Taylor, I think was it, or Bobby Taylor with William Regal or Steven Regal in WCW. He always smiled, and there's not many botches you could see when he was wrestling, and he got the best matches out of every single piece of competition that he ever fought. Look at guys like Ric Flair. Look at guys like Disco Inferno, what they would say. And those are two polar opposites. You know, I actually respect both their words. And they said, you know, he was just an ebb and flow there. He was just awesome to be around, just a great person. And he loved the business, and you could learn from him. But they watch his matches. And get this, Bobby Eaton, Goldberg petitioned for Bobby Eaton to break his streak.
I know.
That is nuts.
Yeah,
because he was the wrestler's wrestler.
Yeah, because that shows how he's brought out. But maybe sadly missed another legend gone, unfortunately. But anyway, guys, we'll leave it on that point. Don't really think we should go any further than that. I think we should always have the last word with a legend like Bobby. So please do like and subscribe to the video. We've had over 300 views on the channel to date. And we only actually have 30 subscribers at present. So it's really important to please try and help us grow the channel by subscribing, giving us a like on the video, and leaving some comments. I say, interact with us. That's what we're here for. I'm always active on YouTube, and I'll always comment back to anybody who does give us ideas of how to grow our channel and you know, be a part of everything that we're doing. So anyway, thanks guys. I've been Andy, your host, and my co-host Dale. Dale, thanks so much, mate, for coming on again. We'll be back again next week with another show.
Absolutely. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. And comment and like and subscribe.
Yeah. And then we've got SummerSlam week coming after that, mate, which should be really, really interesting.
Woohoo!
Okay, guys. Thanks very much, and take care, and we'll see you all next time. As I say, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll keep going on about, but please, please, please try and help us out on the channel. Thank you.